Hey, so of course we all know that Father Time is undefeated. We're all going to get older, but just because you're getting a little older doesn't mean that you have to be a short hitter. In fact, you can learn how to bomb the ball no matter how old you are. I'm here with my student Walt. We're going to delve a little bit into that today. We're going to talk about it from the efficiency side of the equation though, and we're going to show you how you can get more distance out of your drives just by swinging smarter and not necessarily harder. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. If you haven't done so already, feel free to grab a free copy of my ebook, 50 Tips for Hitting Your Longest Drives Ever. I've left a link down below. I think there's going to be some tips in there that maybe you've never considered before that will be very beneficial and help you get some extra yardage out of your drive. So we senior golfers, and I can now include myself in the group because I had my big 50th birthday earlier this month. Walt, you recently had a birthday as well a couple of weeks ago. How old did you turn?
72.
So 72 years old, but Walt is completely defying his age, and he's hitting the ball much, much farther, not only than the average 72-year-old might, but certainly a lot farther than he used to or maybe ever has in his life. And so it's really exciting. We've done some really interesting things with this swing, not just to raise the club head speed up, but also to make the club come in better angles, get better contact, better trajectory, all the things that we would lump into the efficiency category, so that now when Walt swings out on the course, he doesn't feel like he's got to swing it all maxed out in order to hit a big drive. And really, you just talk about hitting it past your buddies all the time. Gives you a lot of joy. But there's no question it's fun to hit it past your buddies, especially if they're younger.
Right.
But Walt's scores have dropped tremendously since his drives have really picked up. All right, let's get into it. So specifically in this video, we're going to be working on Walt's swing plane, his path, and his angle of attack, because a good swing plane is going to be of assistance in hitting the ball from the inside and hitting it upwards, where Walt tends to fall into a pattern of swinging more down and across, hitting down on the ball, swinging out to in, and this is where he ends up getting off the center of the club face more. He ends up getting more slice spin, and that was his old habit. So we're just kind of reinforcing that today with a couple of drills. First, let's get a baseline, watch you swing a couple times smoothly, and let's just see what we get on the TrekMan. All right, so let's take a look at that one. I posted the numbers on the screen up in the corner here. That had a path of 6 degrees out to in to the left and a down strike of 2. So his club was actually descending a couple degrees at the moment of the strike, which we now know is a very inefficient way to hit the ball for the greatest amount of distance using that energy. So at 85 miles an hour, you were only able to hit the ball 206 yards, and that's not like you at all. Sometimes we know we need a little reminder, and that's what we can do our daily drills. We can tend to go back to our old habits that we had a long time ago, and that's why we've got to be very vigilant and continue to drill. So let's do a drill that we normally do and show everybody how we're going to kind of change the shape of the swing a little bit, get a little bit better numbers in terms of hitting from the inside more and hitting up on the ball more, and let's see what happens to your distance. All right, so we've got Walt's workstation set up now, and using this workstation, he was able to hit his career long by training on this of 267 yards long drive at 72 years old. That's not shabby. Plus the fact that you did it with the minimum required club speed possible, which means that all the angles, the trajectories, the contact were literally perfect on that drive. It just shows you don't have to swing all out. I know I've seen Walt swing several miles an hour faster than that, but never drive it that far. So a lot of this is intangible stuff that has nothing to do with clubhead speed. So this workstation here, we've got just a bag, which you'll have at the range, and we've pulled a driver shaft out, put a head cover on it. We've pulled it out into his way. We've used their empty range bucket, and we've put it down on the target line about 24 or 30 inches behind the line, and then we're using an alignment stick kind of set out to 12:30 or 1 o'clock. And that's kind of giving him this visual of like a channel to swing both inside into the ball, and this driver shaft is going to make him swing shallow. And those two things are going to help you hit up on the ball from the inside, and hopefully we'll be turning over little draws too, getting them to really run upon landing. So let me give you a few shots at it, and we'll see what happens. Close. So that was really fantastic, Walt. You did a number of swings there that were all very different shape, a little bit more rounded around your body at the top. You could feel that was a little more around you and a little lower and not so up here. And staying under this, coming down and missing the basket, kind of swinging like railroad tracks up the gap here like that. And so you were hitting a number of draw shots, and the last one you hit there was really pretty good. It was 246 yards. You were able to swing your take your path to straight, or 0 degrees on TrackMan. I mean straight, so no more out to in, but very straight. And you actually had an upstrike of a couple degrees. So that's really close to ideal. And 246 yards is quite a long way, especially considering, I think we watched the replay again in slow-mo. I think we'll see that it was a heck of a smooth swing. There really wasn't a lot of effort put behind it. So that's really nice distance. Now I want to point out that to make all this swing, to make this swing, to facilitate what you were doing here, we've worked a lot on your setup. Right. Would you mind showing me how you used to kind of set up? I'll walk behind you here, just set up to the empty tee there. So Walt would kind of line up with his shoulders a little more level like this and pointing off to the left. So he'd line up a lot like that, and really that would mean it would be very hard to do anything but hit the bucket and hit this, but especially you come down much more like this, wipe this shaft out, and then catch the bucket and knock it over. And generally you were getting a lot of heel shots, a lot of low pulls, a lot of especially a lot of slices. So let's show them now the new way that we're kind of setting up, and that is a little bit more of a butt back a little bit, and then watch, I'm going to just give them a little bit of a tilt and a turn. So you actually might see on the video here, looking at home, that I've actually over-rotated and over-tilted his shoulders by a little bit. And this is for two reasons. Number one, we always like to build in a little bit of exaggeration into our lessons so that when he's on the course, he doesn't have to think about it. And even if he slips back to his old habits, he'll be perfect. The other reason is this tends to bias him. If he really could swing here, this tends to bias him on an upstrike from the inside. And if he can get those hands turning over, he'll tend to hit high draws, which is exactly how his 267-yard ball flew. If we can get a nice high draw out there, we'll get carry and roll. And that's what we're looking for. Hey, thanks for watching. Walt and I are going to keep working on this a little bit longer, but I hope at home you'll take some of the lessons here and this drill and exercise. If you'd like to squeeze out a little more distance but not have to swing hard to do it, you want to address the angles and become more efficient, distance efficient, which means you're getting more distance out of less club head speed. Thanks, Walt, for joining me. And again, if I don't see you in the next video, I hope I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Stay well.